First of all, good morning to all my friends watching these videos and the respected dignitaries. My name is Sreyaas Akuli from D.R. Patil Institute of Technology, Pimpri. Currently, I am studying in second year ENTC department. First of all, I would like to thank the organization for giving me this opportunity on talking about the most important topic, the National Education Policy of India 2020. So, before we start with the topic, let me tell you some brief details about why it was introduced and all that. So, the National Education Policy of 2020 was introduced by the Indian government to replace the education policy of 1986. Yeah, the oldest policy we all been studying in. So there are some major changes that the government did. The first major change I want to talk about is the 10 plus 2 system, that is till 10th and 11th and 12th. It is changed to 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 system. One more major change that the government did, and that's the most beautiful change, is the language. Till 5th standard, all the students will be taught in their regional language so that they understand the core concepts and get their basics crystal clear. Why? Because it's in regional language. You are worried about English, right? After 5th, all the students will be taught English so that they could be prepared for their future achievements as well. One more major thing I want to talk about is the subjects. Till now, all the subjects were based on theory. History, geography, all the dates, like we used to mock up all the data and just write it in our exam. However, the new education policy has changed it. It has introduced more subjects which are based on the future. For example, AI, data analytics, robotics, cloud computing, and these all things are taught to children from 6th standard itself. Like, isn't it the most beautiful part? Sometimes I feel that I wish I could be a part of this education policy. Like, I wish I could get that education from 6th standard, so I'll be on a different level today. However, one more important thing that I would like to include that the policy has changed is the boards exam. Like, before, the board exams were one of the most toughest exams, the 10th board exam, the 12th board exam, due to which most of the students were all stressed out because they had a lot of pressure of their exams. However, the new education policy had made the board exams pretty easy. Yeah, they are pretty easy, and one more advantage to it is we can apply for board exam not twice a year. Yeah, before it was like once you fail, you have to take a dropout and apply next year. However, the new education policy has solved the problem. You can apply for board exam twice a year. One more beautiful change the government did on the new education policy is that it has changed the report card pattern. Yeah, before the report cards were all about how many marks you scored in the exam, what is the content that you wrote, or how you present the paper in the exam. However, the new report cards will be based on your attitude, your discipline, your speaking skills, your group discussions, like how you are being in the class, how you present yourself in front of the others, which is a very beautiful thing. Like, every student should know about these things which will help them in the future. One more major change that the government did is that if you are applying for science, you can also opt for a domestic degree, for example music, arts, or something extracurricular. The government has a goal for every student should have at least one degree except for the study part, an extra degree or extra curriculum degree till 2025, which is a very great thing. However, there are some major challenges that the government is still facing because this is a new education policy. It's taking time for the teachers as well as for the students to cope up with it, due to which this policy has not been implemented in all the country or throughout the country. However, there are some major states, that is Telangana, Karnataka, and a few more states included in this policy. However, teachers are still being trained based on this policy on how the students should be taught for the new policy. And I think that if the government, teacher, and the students, we all work together, then the youth the government is preparing now, or the youth being trained under this new policy, will be the greatest youth of all time, because they have been taught all the great things, all the basics things since the beginning. So this was the last topic I would like to include. Thank you.